Hey there, it's Erin. Come on in. Hey guys, thanks for stopping by. Welcome to my home. There's a lot of aroids in here, but there's also a lot of regular houseplants. So let me show you around. You know, sometimes you just feel like making it a robe day. Greetings, friends. I don't often film crouched behind my couch like a little troll, but there's some really interesting plants over here that I would like to show you. Some Palea that is growing some really nice water roots. I'm going to figure out what I'm going to do with this one, but it looks a lot happier now that it's a little bit more sun and in water. Big ol' Anthurium veitchii. This is the only narrow type that I have, and I just really love this one. And it has a new leaf that is going to be coming out here. And this fun thing here is a water, a light, and a pH. So the pH a little bit too alkaline. Anthuriums typically like it a little bit more acidic. So I could probably be doing better and adding some pH up or pH down, in this case pH down, to make it more acidic. That's a whole different level. I don't know how much I'm willing to invest of my time in that, but it's a great idea. Philodendron billiettii. These are so cute. They're so low maintenance. They just keep growing. I'll bring you over so you can see these guys. So this guy right here, I have another one in the bedroom, but it's a Monstera esqueleto from Costa Farms, and this thing keeps on exploding. This leaf here is its newest one, and then this guy here. And I find that I often have to help them unfurl because their fenestrations are so large, they kind of get tangled up in themselves. But I did put it on a moss pole to kind of help it along. To help. The Philodendron Florida green is so cool and has such fun leaves. And this one, it was looking really kind of wild and scraggly and leggy before I put it on this pole. So this is a stark improvement. And this one, kind of like the UPI or Joe Epii, just keeps going. This is the newest one here. So it's such a fun shape. It's going to need to have another addition to the pole here because it just keeps going. Down here, we have another little Franken project. This is, or was, Anthurium tinga maria, which is supposed to be an easier version of Anthurium regale, but I let it dry out, and so that's what happened. And this guy here is Philodendron adtabapoense, which I put on a moss pole. It just finished watering here with this smoothie bottle. It has started to grow into the moss here, right there. So it's quite happy. Quite a random corner here. Lots going on. And this guy here, Old Faithful, the Monstera that keeps on growing and giving. A friend of mine, also a YouTuber, the Credit Frog, if you're interested in credit cards and credit card points, you should definitely check out his channel. But he got me this really cute little Monstera jellycat. Thanks, Stan. One of my favorite OG plants in this living room area is this Rhaphidophora tetrasperma or mini Monstera. No matter the weather, the season, it keeps putting out leaves. And I attached it to the wall here to let it keep climbing up and up. Of course, this Nintendo Switch. So shout out to all of my planty parent friends who have to share their plant spaces with kid tech. So I would never tell these guys in Precious Plant Corner that they're my favorite, but they are actually my favorite. And we have some interesting experiments happening here. So I'm kind of crossing the line into the itty bitty seedlings. This is a Anthurium red crystallinum from Woohoo Tropicals that I got from Plant Story, and then I just planted a corm here that's beginning to sprout. But you know what? There's lots more room. These usually live under this little kind of incubator with an LED light. But this has actually gotten quite a bit larger. Came to me in a little tiny salsa cup, so it's now graduating. And next to that, in this very makeshift water bottle and lunch Tupperware container is a cutting of Monstera esqueleto in some sphagnum moss. And so we are moving along here. This is actually doing quite well. So lastly, as far as weird experiments, this might be my favorite. This is if you've never heard of a snake fruit, I fell in love with these when we went to Indonesia over the summer, and this is what the leaf looks like. But I had a seed and I put it in a paper towel and a plastic baggie, and I forgot about it, and I put it in my makeup drawer in my bathroom. Several weeks later, I found it, and it had sprouted and was growing large, aggressive roots. So I plunked it into this chunky mix. It's since sprouted all of these leaves, and these get massive. The seed is quite large, the fruit is delicious, and the skin of it, that's why it's called the snake fruit. It's such a strange looking fruit. I can't wait for this to grow into a big tree. This is another Alocasia silver dragon corm that I put in some stratum that's also sprouting. So not a lot of experiments, but so far going well. Anthurium dorayaki in some pon. The old standby, everyone's favorite, well, my favorite, Anthurium crystallinum. So in usual chunky aroid mix. Okay, the next plant here, this is a really special plant. It's a bit sentimental, and it is because this is one of my 2 favorite plants that I received from the sadly now defunct Plantarina.com that went out of business in October 2023. It was already a really cool plant when it arrived, but it has since exploded. I've repotted it already once. The leaves are just gorgeous. It's a Anthurium radicans luxurians. It's got not 1, but 4 growth points happening here. Just pretty great. And it's in the closest thing I have to pretty much regular soil. It's in a little bit of leca and some monstera soil and some perlite. This one is the gift that keeps on giving. And to be honest, I cannot help but think of Amanda from Plantarina.com. I miss her videos. This is by far my favorite plant that I've received from Plantarina. And of course, I would not be talking about my plants if I didn't bring up this Frankenstein Anthurium regale seedling that has seriously been around the block twice. It's regenerated. It started off in coconut chips and then just kept losing leaves. You know, the true definition of insanity is trying the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. So I changed it up into fluval stratum, and it looks perfect now. It keeps getting bigger by the day. It's dark, it's velvety. I am just really happy with the direction this is going in fluvals. Eventually I'll have to take it out of fluval, but not today. And then this mysterious thing. So this I got as a seedling from Equigenera. That sounds like something I would do. It is mostly in coconut chips here, and it has grown quite a bit. It's like really thick feeling and very healthy feeling, but like what is this? Hello? Why does it have a bullet hole in it? I don't know why this is happening. Is this a nutrient issue? I don't water with tap water anymore. This is the only leaf that's misbehaving in this way. I don't know. Have you guys seen this? I need help. Like, why is this happening? Fill me in. Let's take it to a little bit higher elevation. So let's talk about some of these guys down here. So usually, first of all, the humidity. So normally I grow in ambient, so they're usually between 30 and 50 something percent. 60% is a lot for them. Like, they're spoiled today with this. But this is a queen that's hanging out, getting water roots, and she's preparing to go into leca in a little net pot. We're looking really healthy here, and actually, were you to give it a sniff, which I already did, it smells really just sort of planty and like fresh soil. If it smells fishy or weird, it just smells off if you've gotten some root rot going on. So luckily, everything looks good. Here's a Lego parrot that my son made, part of the tropical decor. And then here is the David Portia Dreams that my sister gave me, which I absolutely love. And I believe we have an inflow here. I don't know that I want an inflow here because I think perhaps it's maybe caused some yellowing here. I have mixed feelings about an inflow because, to be honest, I would rather have a leaf. I don't know about you. This is a nice looking plant. And then this is another queen I received from terracottaplant.co from Instagram. We are a little dry here, but she put it, I think, in a little bit of tree fern bark, and it's been looking really nice and healthy. This is the good leaf that I bought it with. And this Philodendron patricii, so that's that leaf there, which is shiny looking in the back. This one has really been to hell and back, to be honest. So it was huge at first, and then I don't know whether or not it had a root rot problem or what was happening, but I ended up repotting it, treating with an antifungal. It hasn't gotten any worse. I wish the leaves were sizing up a little bit larger, but you know what? I'll take it. Still looks nice. This Philodendron Lanamii, still looking beautiful. This is a really satisfying one. This is really easy. And then this is wide type Anthurium veitchii. Tweedledee and Tweedledum here. And I love collecting Monstera esqueletos. So this one was giving me several runners. I ended up chopping it and now it's doing really well and it's regrowing. Anthurium crystallinum here, probably one of my favorites, if not my favorite, putting out an inflow, which again, I would rather have a nice big leaf.
No, I want one of those.
But it does say that the plant is happy. The Anthurium magnificum silver, but really large and in charge, so love her. Anthurium pallidiflorum, that I just adore this guy. So we have a new leaf that's going to be coming out here. And this one is just the gift that keeps on giving. This is another David Portia Dreams that I bought for myself before I knew that my sister was going to get this one. And look at this. New emergent coming out here, which is super exciting because I can't get enough Monstera esqueletos. Here's another one that I put on a moss pole and is giving me a new leaf. So definitely not as huge and crazy as the ones from Costa Farms. These are still really cool. I still really like them. An Anthurium regal that has been behaving so far. And this, the only other kind of strap Anthurium that I have, which is this Anthurium Wenlangeri that I got from Russo Plant Care. Any plant that I've received from Russo Plant Care has really been non-fussy. This is new. I can tell it's going to get a lot bigger and it's going to get darker as it hardens off. This Anthurium Upi, Joepii, whatever you want to call it. I'm not here to judge you. But this one, let me see. Let's climb up on this couch so you can see it closely. Look at these monster leaves. Such a fan of this one. This keeps climbing. I put it on a moss pole. It was looking really crazy and leggy before. These are in the periphery of the grow light. And it just seems like whatever kind of light I pretty much put it in, this doesn't seem to mind. It's not fussy. You know what I almost forgot? One of the best plants here in Precious Plant Corner, which is the OG Anthurium luxurians, the size of my freaking head, bigger actually. So this is doing really well in ambient. It lost a few leaves initially, and then it just decided, okay, I guess I live here. So I had posted, it had a new leaf. I think it was actually this leaf, and it was really wonky looking. And I posted a short about it, and some person was like, it's gonna be fine. It's gonna look like a normal leaf. Bless you, whoever you are, with your positive energy, because you know what? They're right. It was fine, actually. And it is not even fine. It's spectacular, I feel like. So, woo, dry. Gotta water you. Sorry, my friend. Crispy Anthurium Black Diamond Inverse. Not really loving the lack of humidity in this living room. There's another Anthurium luxurians. You know, it's funny because for being an ambient, both of the luxurians I have here and the Radicans luxurians, they don't seem to mind. I'm actually pleasantly surprised at how well they've done in ambient. Okay, one more plant over here I do not want to forget to show you. This guy is heavy. So this is my Thai Constellation Monstera. He has never given me a bad leaf. Granted, he has slowed down a lot for winter. It's funny because my sister has almost identical cutting from the same plant, and hers over the winter has been exploding, but mine has really slowed down. Yet I'm still having all kinds of escaping root. Feels really heavy. It's like full of roots. So I'm thinking maybe when the weather warms up a little bit, it is going to pop for me, but everything looks really healthy and really great. I think this is the last one. I can't tell, they're quite similar, but I love the color here. Fingers crossed, but my sister in the meantime keeps sending me pictures of her leaves exploding. So I am happy for her, but I am also a little bit jealous. I kind of fell out of love with this guy here. This Palorense looks a bit like the weapons from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I have elected to sort of put it on the back burner and not give it a ton of light. So that's my bad. So I wanted to share a success story. It's a Cinderella story, if you will, about this lady palm right here that I got a few years ago. It was actually not that much bigger than that from a big box plant store. Moving along fine, growing, looking beautiful. I noticed one day when I walked by, this girl was covered in scale. It's disgusting. So I acted quickly. I sprayed it down with an insecticide immediately, and then I did a lot of systemic granules in the soil. A couple of weeks later, the scale had turned dry, desiccated, and dead, and easily wiped off. It has not had a problem since. So I am a huge believer now of using systemic granules as a first-line treatment to save your plants from any freeloading pests. And the beauty part is that no one in the house was affected by the scale. Just this girl, and she has since recovered and moved on. Okay, here's my little coffee table of curiosities starring this Monstera Peru, which is throwing out a runner. It's actually often throwing out a runner, and that's because it doesn't get probably enough light to really push out a ton of robust looking leaves in this location, but I really like how it looks. So this is as good as it's going to get. And then as also this little Synapsis is so cute and feeling really healthy. And it's just been these 3 little leaves for quite some time. And then, my favorite little candle, the Santal 26, which burns down too quickly and is so expensive. And then, of course, I gotta have all the Palo Santo. I love the way this smells. Something I did want to point out in the hallway with these pothos here is this little thing up here. It's called a solar tube. It's kind of in lieu of having a skylight. I bought this house. This hallway was so dark, almost like scary, like horror movie. But I wanted to put a few plants here, so I'd put this solar tube in the ceiling so it always has a little bit of natural light, enough to grow these pothos happily. This Addisonii has had a rough winter, and I just gave it a major chop. It used to trail all the way down to the floor, so it looks pretty rough here, but I find that it grows pretty quickly. So if you have dark space in your house, instead of a really expensive skylight, a solar tube might be an option for you if you want to grow plants in a dark area like a bathroom or a hallway. So this here is the guest room where my sister, who is also a plant lover, usually stays when she comes to visit us. I put together a collection of, she's more of a philodendron person, so you'll find a lot more philodendron here. So this is an philodendron hybrido Felix. So easy, probably going to moss pull him in the near future. Let me just say, everyone should have permission to get rid of a plant that no longer sparks joy, no longer makes them happy, and is maybe legit driving them crazy. So this Anthurium lutheri has been in so many different mediums, it's just not happening. It's a shriveled stump now, and quite frankly, it's taking up space where something else cool could go, so I think I'm going to say goodbye to him. Anthurium pedata radiatum, finger Anthurium, SB Columbia. This is Philodendron Florida Ghost in Pond. Look how awesome this looks. This might be my favorite plant in this room. It really seems to be happy, and it's put out this really great leaf, so no complaints there. And right next to it is Philodendron Jose Buono, which I should have included this in my Feel Good Plant series because this is exactly that. This is the newest leaf coming out here. You can tell that it's going to have a ton of variegation, just like this one. And it just keeps flopping out giant leaves. Even from this little tiny pot. It's basically in like a well-aerated, chunky soil with lots of perlite, but there is absolutely nothing special about this. You just need to give it enough light or it will start to revert a little bit. This is a misbehaving Florida beauty. So look at this. Like stunning, right? Really pretty. But then this is the first leaf that came out after, with this sad bit of variegation right here, if you could even call it that. And then I was like, okay, well, who knows? We'll see what happens next. Tons of light under the grow light. This is what came out next. It's lovely and shiny, and it's larger than the last leaf, which is, all we could ask for, but it's fully reverted. I suspect this coming out here will also be a reverted leaf, so I'm gonna have to give this a good old-fashioned chop. And we're going to have to start over again. I think the genetics of the plant probably won over the lighting situation here. It makes so fun, though. This is going to have to go on a poll, too, because this aggression will not stand, man.
No, this aggression will not stand, man.
A slightly larger Billy Eddie while we're on the Philodendron guest room, Stellina. and the Magnificum. I hadn't realized how many Anthurium beechii I had until I was filming this. There's quite a lot, but this one is in pond. The reservoir is just about dry. I'm gonna have to refill it soon. This little seedling really seemed to like this little pot here, and has since put out, this is its newest leaf that it put out, and it seems quite happy. Little Philodendron McDowell seedling that's chugging along in pond. Not too impressive. Monstera obliqua Peru, which, you know, it's not doing any worse, but it's not doing any better. So I talked about this in another video. It's got a little bit of moss on top because this truly is, I think this really would be a great terrarium plant because it does really need a lot of humidity. And this is the best I'm going to do with them because they can have the humidifier and a little bit of moss on top, but there will be no grow cabinet for them. Although I may be eating those words because I have been buying an awful lot of cute little rare, hard to find seedlings. So, I mean, I really have no choice. I have to put them in an area that I can control the temperature and the humidity. Otherwise, who wants a crispy, expensive seedling? You may also wonder why there's no Hoyas on this plant tour. And the reason is I just really don't love a Hoya. I love that you love a Hoya maybe, but they just don't have that big leaf energy. Like maybe the Hoya Hindu rope does. I would maybe concede and get that one, but other than that, I'm just like not too interested. Probably better because those can get pricey. Yeah, so everything in this house is just sort of existing. It's a free range ambient situation over here. Down here we have where the alocasia live. This guy, I'm trying to get him to grow some water roots. I often struggle with alocasias. This one was doing really poorly, and then I put it in pond, and then it seems to like it. This guy here, Alocasia saurian, so pretty. This one keeps putting out new little babies. Alocasia pink princess, doing okay in the soil that it came with from a local nursery in Torrin. An Alocasia dragon's breath. I think this is maybe one of the last plants I got from plantarina.com. Look at all these babies. How cute. This thing was obviously packed full of corms, but I still really love this one. I love the goth maleficent energy of this plant so much. We're a little curled here, we're a little dry, so obviously it's watering day. These guys need to be watered. This is sort of just like a little nook, like a little reading nook. When we moved in, we thought we could either make this into like a breakfast nook or a little plant chill out area. And so I opted for that, obviously. A couple of calatheas here. A ZZ plant. You know, these Orbifolia calatheas are not doing that bad because here's what. This is where the vent is for the heating and air conditioning. So I often see it like flapping away in the breeze, and it's not been worse for wear. It's had a little bit of crisping, but nothing too bad. I mean, obviously the ZZ plant is fine. You can't kill those. Cute little staghorn fern doing well. These, oh God. This looks terrible. If I ever get another one, which I probably will, I'm putting it directly into pond. These just don't like soil, or not like this kind of soil like they came in. They look good for a while, and then they just start to look terrible. Well, guess what? We're in an area of my bedroom that I've curated to make a plant throne, if you will. I mean, visually, this is a very happy little corner. Since this is the view I have when I wake up in the morning, I try to keep a lot of my favorite plants over here. First thing I see in the morning is this giant Philodendron gloriosum leaf, which is like a blanket. Then up here, I mean, this is actually almost comical. What's going on here? This guy and I have really been through it. This Quasimodo, Lord of the Rings, orc plant, and I mean, I just almost like want to just cut off these rough edges. It's probably not going to make it. That's okay. You know what? Maybe we'll just regenerate him again. Down here is the cutest little variegated Mycolitziana, or again, the plant formerly known as Alocasia friedic, variegated. Look at this color. Wowza. Next to him is another people pleaser, Anthurium forgetii. Look at this sinus, though. This sheen. We have a queen in stratum. She's doing okay. And an Alocasia mellow in pawn that's doing really well. This bedroom monster Esqueleto, I mean, he still looks good, but it's just not quite as good. This Regulosum I've talked about looks healthy and shiny, but it just got this massive tear in it, which was irritating. If I look at it from this angle, doesn't look too bad. Down here is Anthurium magnificum that the leaves kept getting crispy and shredded. The root system underneath was super established, large and ropey. So I just removed the old leaves and the stump was in great shape. Starting to look like a magnificum now. Philodendron Sharonii, not fussy at all. If you are into a big, long philodendron leaf, this is definitely a very cool one. Right next to it, I have Philodendron esmeraldens narrow. Now, I don't know what in the heck, why it's called narrow. There's nothing narrow about this, but it does have an escaping root, which is awesome. A no emerging leaf, which is great. So this is one that just keeps the party going. While we're on the feel good plant tip, this Forgetii, look at this sinus. This is the newest leaf. It looks like I have a new emergent here, which is fantastic. And then let's not forget our old friend Philodendron gloriosum. Now let's see what's up here. So we have a crispy. This is, you know what, this is the vent. This is the AC and the heating right here. So these guys are surprisingly doing really well. This Antheria veitchii, not so much, but look at this. Finally sizing up. It's finally given me a nice, decent sized leaf. This is a wide type. I love the narrow type better, but the wide are just easier to get a hold of. This one is a Mag Lux Papillolamina cross from Russo Plant Care. And look, there's a brand new little guy here. And the folks at Russo Plant Care, they don't often have a lot of plants for sale. This wavy noid is actually from him also. Look at this pretty leaf. They don't often have a lot of plants for sale, but when they do, they are so easy to care for and no fuss. This is a little Tycon that I got from Plant Proper, and this was its newest leaf in my care, so finally getting some fenestrations here, which is exciting. And then it looks like we're escaping out of the pot here, which is a happy little guy. A Clarinervium here, and another guy here. So pretty. And I think the newest leaf is this one coming out here, which is so cute. This is a UPI I received from that same Instagram seller who sent me the queen, the Warwickwianum, another crystallinum, the Happy Bunny. This plant, every time I see it, just makes me so happy. And is this an emergent here? It is. So exciting. New leaf happening here for the Happy Bunny. Love this guy. I cannot wait for this one to get so big. This is the Pallidiflorum in Pawn, just doing its thing. Anthurium Zamora Queen. So hybrid of the Warwickwianum. She's big though. Little beat up, but she is big. Put her a little bit of moss on top of her to keep her nice and humid. Acacia Mellow. Over here, guess who's a Leo? We have this adorable fiddle leaf fig, which has given me zero problems. So you can see the window, but I feel like normally these need a lot more light, but this is doing fine. And I don't know what this is. Maybe you guys do. It will tell me when it needs to be watered because it will immediately wilt and look very sad. And here is a cute little book on palms that my dad got me because he is the one who actually instilled this love of plants and gardening. He's always puttering around his garden, he's like the cutest thing. Well, thank you for joining me on this planty tour of my home. We pretty much got to everything except for the downstairs and the outside bit, so we'll have to save that for next time. Otherwise, this video would be way too long. Make sure you give it a thumbs up, subscribe so you don't have any plant FOMO, and wishing you the biggest leaf energy.